All right. Okay. Evening, everyone. So today we're going to continue with Specflow, and I'll try to make it as simple as possible. So going through the steps. So, I will advise you to follow the step. I'll go through, and I'll make it as simple as possible. But the video is there for you to look after this. So there are different steps that you need to follow when you want to set up Specflow and also with Selenium. So today we're going to focus on those one. The first step is for you to configure and set up your Specflow. So, and I've put 3 steps there. The first step is for you to install Specflow Visual Studio integration. So after that, you create a new project, then also you add Specflow to the project as a reference. So what I will do is to go through this in terms of theory, then after that I go into this step one after the other so that we see how this thing works. If you want to install Specflow Visual Studio, you open your Visual Studio. I can do that quickly right now. You open your Visual Studio. So you go to Tools, Extension, and Update. Extensions and Updates. Then you click on that, and you search for Specflow. So you see that over here, but right now I've already installed it, so I could as well uninstall and install again. So in there, if you haven't installed it before, you just click on install. But if you've done that, I think that's okay. This is another thing for you to check. Let's assume you just resume a job right now, and they give you a new laptop. You want to be sure that Specflow is already installed or integrated with the Visual Studio that they're giving to you. So that's how to quickly check it. So then once you confirm that, then you are good to go. So, but if you are not seeing this, if you are saying install, then you need to click on install so that you can install it. So one thing I also want to say, after you've done that, when you've installed the application, the integration, you need to close your Visual Studio and also restart it again. I've put the step here. One step is you click on online. If you have no, click on that. Or I'll go back again because I've got it online. Then Specflow. So you see that is green because I've already got it installed. So, and then you can click on install if you have that. So then after you've done that, you will see a screen like this. So you should click on modify. So when you click on modify, you see it gets installed. Then you see that it's been integrated with your Visual Studio, and you can click on close. So, but do close Visual Studio and open it again. Otherwise, you wouldn't actually see it.
I'm sorry to butt in. I can't see your screen here. I think a number of people are having the same issue. We can't see your screen. The screen is visible, but it's static. Nothing is happening on the screen.
Okay, 1 minute. Okay, I said for you to set up Specflow with Selenium, the first step you need to do is install Specflow Visual Studio integration. That is, you've got your Visual Studio installed properly, and the next step is for you to integrate Specflow with your Visual Studio. So how do you do that? You open your Visual Studio, you click on Tools, and you click on Extension and Updates. You click on tools and you click on extension and objects. So you see something like that. So then after that, you click on online branch, which is like that one. Then after that, you search for Specflow. Then you click on download to install your Specflow. So once that is done, then it opens a window for you to modify your Visual Studio with Specflow, and you click on modify button. So then the installation starts. Then after that, you click on close, and then after that, I said you should make sure you close your Visual Studio at this step and then open it again. Make sure you close your Visual Studio and open it again. So the next step is to 1 minute, please. Can everyone mute their phone? Okay, so the next step is for you to create a new project. Can everyone mute their phone, please, if that's okay? All right. So the first step I said is you integrating your Visual Studio Specflow with Visual Studio. The second step is you create a new project. How do you create a new project in Visual Studio? You open your Visual Studio and you click on New and you click on Project. So I'll quickly do that. You click on Open your Visual Studio. You click on File, New, and New Project. So we're going to do a new project now, and I'll call it Specflow. Just want to put it in a training document. So called Specflow training. So Specflow training, that's the name of the, and like I said last week, you need to click on test and select unit test project. Unit test project because it's a test project that you are creating. I know some people have said some people use console application. That's not the best way to do it because you are creating a test project, so you should use a test project template. So then you click on OK. And if you want to add it to Git repository, you can click on that. So we discussed about Git repository later. Can you please mute your phone, your mic, please, if you just joined, please. Okay, so you click on OK, and that is it. So disregard this one because I've got a solution that I've not saved, so I'm going to save that. So yeah, okay, this is what you have when you create a new solution. So then the next step right now is for you. I've gone through these steps right now, so and this is where we are. So the next step is for you to add references to your project. So if you want to add references to your project, so you need to know which are the references that you need. I've added 4 references here. One, you need Specflow, you need Selenium. and we are going to use Specrun. You could as well use NUnit. So, and also we're going to use Chrome driver. So how do you, all these steps are going to follow the same steps, or you're going to select different ones. So the first one is Specflow. So the first thing you do, I'll put this step here, you go to your NuGet package, you start your NuGet package. How do you do that? So you go to Tools, NuGet package. If I increase the NuGet package, you click on NuGet package, then you click on Manage NuGet package. Then that brings this window to you, and you can click on Browse. Then after Browse, you click on Specflow. Then after that, you see Specflow comes out, and you select the project that you want to add to, and then you click on Install. I'll quickly go through that step with you right now. So for you to add Specflow to your project, you click on Tools, and you click on NuGet Package Manager, and you click on Manage NuGet Package for Solutions. Then you click on Browse. Then you try to browse. I would increase this window. So you browse Specflow. So, and you see that one. So that's Specflow. So you click on Specflow, and then you have your project window at this point. So project window, you click on that, the project you want your Specflow to be installed for. Then if you go down, you see install. You might have to scroll down, but if your view is big enough, you should be able to see it. So you see install, which is for the latest stable 2.30, which is the current stable version. So you click on install. So then you click on accept to accept license. So then you have your package manager open. This is the package manager screen. So, and you should be able to see that Specflow 2.30 is being installed successfully for your project. And this is the project I installed it for. And if you go to the reference, you should be able to see Specflow in the reference, which is techtalk.specflow. So that is that done. And I also said you need to install Selenium. So the same way, you go back to your NuGet package. So since I'm on this screen, I don't need to go through the same screen again. But if you are not on this screen, you do the same thing. Go to Tools, NuGet package, then NuGet package, manage NuGet package for solution. So it takes you back to the screen again. So then you need to search for Selenium. Selenium is what we need to add next. Then you click on that, and also you click on the solution, the project that you want to install. Then, so you click on install. So the same way also, I've installed the WebDriver. You also need Selenium.support. So you need Selenium.support also. I click on that also, then I click on install. Then also for Specflow to work, for you to see everything displayed in your test explorer, you need Specrun. And also, I think someone also asked me, are we going to cover reporting? So for instance, when I run my test, how can I actually generate a report? And I said Specrun automatically create a report for you. So that's why I chose that right now. So, but if you use NUnit, you can also write a little code to get the report for you. But this training, we're going to focus on Specrun. So you go back to your NuGet package, which is already open for us. You click on you click on browse, and you select Specrun. So specrun that opens specrun runner, it is not the one you are looking for. You select specrun.specflow. Specrun.specflow. Bear in mind it's got different versions, so you need to select the right one. So you have 2.2, 1.9, and 2.0, but I'll go for the one without. This is this one. I'll select specrun.specflow. So then also this is already selected for us, but if it's not selected, you click on that also to select the project you want specrun.specflow to be installed for. So then you click on install. So the same way also your NuGet package is confirmed that that is installed successfully, and so then you are good to go. So that is that for that. So I've put all the steps here, so each one after the other what you need to do. So I'll send the document after the training. So so the first step, you installing Specflow, add Selenium reference to the project, and it's the same step. Then also, yes, Selenium added, then add Selenium support. So that is now added, then add Spectrum to the project. So that is added. Then the last one that I've not yet done is Chrome driver, because we're going to use Chrome for now, and so I'll add Chrome driver to it. Things are kind of easier right now, so we have Chrome driver. Initially, you have to add the reference by yourself, but these days you can actually get that in the NuGet package. So you go back to the NuGet package and put Chrome. So I'm going to install that one for me, selenium.webdriver.chrome driver. Another thing you can see, there are two actually. So you can see one is popular than the other. This is 2.0 and 250,000 downloads, and this is got 1.6 million actually. So but I think they work the same way, but I'll choose the most popular one. So then you click on install. So that's everything set up for you as I've stated here right now. So that's you ready to go to write your first Specflow test. So you've been able to download your references that are required this time. So there might be other one that you need to do as time goes on, but as at now, I've told you what you need to do. Install your Specflow reference, install your Selenium reference, Selenium support reference, and also you need to install your Specrun reference and also add your Chrome driver reference to the project. So the next step now is, how can I create my first Specflow test? So like I said, it is a good practice to create folders for your test so that you don't just put everything in one folder. Is a good practice. So you will need some folders created. You need folder for your feature files. You need folder for your step definition. You need folder for your page objects. And also, this is another folder that people do create, also which is also important, is your utility or common folder. That's where you put any other thing that is not your feature file, not your step definition, and it's not your page object, or some other codes that is so common to your code, and also something that is kind of utility folder or classes that you want to use within your code. So that you put that in that folder. So to create a project folder, you right click on your project, and you click on add, and you click on new folder, and you put the name of the folder, features, you go through the same step for all the folders you want to create. So add new folder, step definitions. Then also for the page object, and also this folder, like I said, you can call it utility or you can call it common, depending on what you decide to call it. So I'll call it utility right now. So if you have the folders like this, feature, your page object, your step definition, and your utility. That is the first step. So it's you having a structural architectural diagram of your code. You got everything mapped out. You know where you are storing your files, because we know writing our Selenium code with Specflow, we're going to have feature files created. Nowadays, page object module is a very good one. So we're going to talk about page object module. So when we create our page objects, we're going to store them in the page object folder. For every feature file that we create, there will be step definition attached to them, so that it links with the feature file. So then our step definition is going to be stored in that folder. Then any other utility classes that we create is going to go into the utility folder. So that is how I've set up this. It's possible some other people may have a different nomenclature in how they call this folder, but it's a good practice to store them in folders. So, but the name that you call it should be meaningful, and also people should be able to read meaning to what actually the folder means. So that's the point of having a good naming convention for your folder. So like I said, I've covered this right now. So you should have something like that. So in terms of your folders. So the next step is for you to create your feature file. So how do you create your feature file? I'll go through this step again. So your feature file is like I said last week, it contains your getting commands. So, but for you to create your feature file, as we have said, we've got a folder for that. So we're going to store everything in our feature folder. So you right click on your feature folder. If you right click on your features folder and you click on add and you click on new. Like I said last week also, if you don't have any Specflow listed here, you haven't install or integrate your Specflow with Visual Studio correctly. So you need to go back again. Or it's possible that you've integrated it, but you've not restarted your Visual Studio. I would advise that you close down Visual Studio and you open it again. So if it's not appearing again, then start to go to tools and you go to extension and updates, and also then add Specflow again. So if you need to go through the step again, so I think it should be in the step that we've done before. So now for you to do that, so you need to add our Specflow feature file. So we want to create Specflow feature file. So you click on Specflow feature. So and you put the name. So the step I want to test a web page right now. So I want to test a web page. I want to start from registration. So there's a registration folder feature that I want to run. So I'll call this particular feature registration. So it's okay to say registration.feature, but it automatically does that for you if you just put registration and you could click on add. So that is that. So that is created here. and you have your feature as registration, and then, and like I said last week also, it creates a dummy calculator feature for you. You don't need all this one, so you can create, remove it and say, and put what you want to put. This is just explanation of what we are trying to do in order to perform operation on the site. I need to register. So, and you got your scenario at this point. You say add two numbers. So this is also a calculator feature, that's been written as a template for you. So, but you need to remove that and put your scenario that you are talking about. So at this point, you want to say, if one of the scenario I want to create, write is registering new user, or I can also put that registering new users. So now, what are the steps that I need to go through for me to register new users? So I will use a website quickly just to demonstrate. So on this page, on this website right now, if you want to register on this page, you need to go to click on register button. Once you click on register button, then you need to fill in those details. You need to fill in those details as it is: your first name, your last name, email, and password. So let's try to go through that. That's why I said, if you're not familiar with manual testing, then I think this is time for you to listen carefully. And also, there's another group for manual testing if you want to join that. So, okay, so now the step to register is the first thing, you go to the website and navigate to the web page, or let's say to the site. So then after that, I remove other ones. So when I navigate to the site, after that, what do I want to do? I want to click on register button, and I click on register button. So when you click on register button, what do you do? Then you start to enter your details. Then it's now put, when I enter first name, because there are other details in there that you want to enter, so you concatenate it with and I enter last name, and I enter password, and I confirm password. And okay, then I click on sign up button. So that should get you register. Then after that, you want to confirm that you are registered. So that's where the then comes in. Then I am registered. So, but how do you confirm that registered? So we're going to talk about that one later. So this is your scenario, your first scenario being created. Bear in mind, know the colors. We got three colors here. One is blue, and one is black and yeah, blue, black, and purple. You can see the keywords are in blue, and your name and also the comments, which is not regarded, actually are in black. So the other one, the purple ones, are your steps. Right now they're in purple because you've not actually linked them with any step definition. So the next step that you need to do is to now link them with step definition. I'll quickly go through the notes. So I've gone through all the steps with you. So clicking on creating a feature file. So the step to create a feature file. So I'm just trying to go through it so that when you want to go through the steps, even using the video, you'll be able to see the steps. So that's the template for the calculator. So, and the feature file I've just created. So, and yeah, the next step is your step definition. So I'll go through the step also for the step definition. So for the step definition, you have different approach that you can use. You have one approach is to click on the first on the line, and you right click, and you say go to definition. So when you click on that, because there's no linked step definition for that particular steps, it's going to ask you that do you want to copy that step definition and put it in your clipboard. So when you do that, you can say yes to copy that, then you put it wherever you want to put it. But for a starter, I won't do that. So I'll just go through the easy step. The easy step is to say, okay, I don't want to bother myself knowing where I want to paste it or not. So I just want I want Specflow to create that step definition for me and also create that particular file in the C# class. So I don't have to do anything. So to do that, you just right click. So then you, instead of saying go to step definition, you click generate step definition. So once you click on generate step definition, it brings all the step definition that you've created out. Then you can now create on and now select where you want the class to be, the name of the class. So you can change that, or I would advise for now, if you don't know what you are doing, just leave it like that as a class name. Then you click on generate. So that brings, so you now select where you want to store that particular file, which is registration step.cs. So we're using this particular folder. So you save it in the folder. You'll be sure where you save it. So I advise you save it in the same folder that you are using for your projects. So this is the project folder. So then I want to save it in that. So as I said before, we created this particular folder. So even though we created it in the Visual Studio, all this folder that we created is here. You can see the feature folder, the page object folder, and the step definition folder, and the utility folder. So at this time, because you are creating your step definition, you click on that. You want to save your step definition inside the step definition folder. So you click on save. So when you go to your Visual Studio, you see that in there. And that is that. So if you go back to our feature file, you can see now it's turned from purple to black, which shows that it's been mapped. So we already got a step definition for each of the steps, and so it's now linked together. So if you are still seeing purple, that means something's wrong. If not properly link it together, or in some cases you just need to save it again. So and say okay, but if you save it again and it's not changing to black, then something is wrong. So you need to know what actually is the problem. I advise you just delete it and recreate it again. So for a start, so because sometimes if you don't know what you are doing, to figure out the problem might take a longer time. Just delete on this feature file and also delete the step definition, and then you start it all over. So if I go to my step definition now that I've created for that feature file, this is it. So I'll quickly go through this in a moment and see what exactly this is. In a C#, you have different libraries. So when you want to use a library, you use the name of the library. So in this particular one, line 1 and 2, they are using a different library. So system library and also the Specflow library. To be honest, I want to make it as simple as possible so that I don't bore you with some details. So I'm going to do it as like a framework that follow the steps, and this is what you need to do. As long as you follow the step, you'll be fine. So now you've created your registration steps. So what do I need to know? And now you need to know where these things map together. You can see, given I navigate to the site, that is the same thing as this step. So this step is mapped to this particular method. So now for you to establish that, you can click on that step. When you click on that step, then press function F12. Function F12. That takes you to that particular step, which shows that it's mapped. Another way to do that, if you don't not want to use function F12, is to right click on that feature on scenario line and go to definition, which the shortcut is F12. Go to definition. That takes you to where it's been mapped. But if you click on any of the scenario step and it's not taking you to the test method or the method, then it's not properly mapped. And also, I spoke about TDD before, and I said TDD is test-driven development, and when you first write your test, it should fail. So, and the same thing I said, it's also the same thing with BDD, which is what we are doing right now. So, if you run this test, it's going to fail because it's got pending scenario. So because of that, it's going to fail, because that's the point of BDD and TDD. Your test will fail first, then you start to write your code and to make it work. So you can as well remove that. Then this is where you need to write your code. So your code for navigation to the site goes here. So your code to navigate to the site should go here. So what you need to do, so the first thing is like, how do I navigate to the site? So if you know how to do that, that goes there. But we are not going to cover this in this in this particular session. So we start from here next week. But however, so the same way also, if you want to click on register button, so when you want to click on register button, the code to click on register button goes in there. And the same way, the code to enter first name goes there. And the same way, the code to enter last name goes there. As you can see, everything is kind of a framework. If you follow this step, then the next one is like, how do I enter last name? What do I need to enter? How do I enter password? What are the code that I need? Then you slot it where it should be. And you are okay. So that is basically what you need to do. Then when you want to confirm your password, the code to confirm password goes there, and also the code to click on sign in goes there. Then when you want to confirm that you are registered, if you know how to confirm that, then the code to do that goes in here. So now everything is kind of a framework. You just need to know how everything maps together. So that's it. So the next one quickly I want to see is our utility file. So for your test to work, there is some hooks that you need to create. So there's some hooks that you need to create. I'll start from there next week, so to see how to create those hooks. So you need to create your before scenario and after scenario. So that's the for today. So quickly, I will do a quick recap on what we've been able to do. So that next week we are not going to start on this. So we're going to continue from the hooks, and also we'll be able to do Selenium binding. And also by next week we should be able to run end to end from Specflow to Selenium, and also to get that works. So in summary, so what we've been able to do, we've been able to install our Specflow, integrate it with Visual Studio, and we've been also quickly, I'll just go through the. Okay, I think it's better to use that. Okay, so we've been able to configure our Specflow with Visual Studio, or we've created new projects, and also we've added references to our project. So we've added references, we add Specflow references, we add Selenium references, we also add Selenium support reference, then Specron, and also Chrome driver. So we've created our first Specflow test. We've gone through the steps of creating that. So, and also we created our step definition with it. So next week we start with the hook. What is hook? How do you use hook? Why do I need to use the hook? Then from there we also try to see how we can execute our Specflow and also Selenium. So that's that for today. So if you have any question, quickly you can type it in the comment line. So before I can go through, so that I can before we leave in 2 minutes. So otherwise we call it today. So yeah, so next week we're going to meet at the same time. So we're going to go through the hooks, and we're going to go through Specflow end to end. So it's very, very important that you be available next week, because that's where you're going to see how this thing actually works. So, and you're going to see how is doing the clicking. And also we also talk about the page object, because it's so important. So we've already created our folder for those things. Today we only use the one for feature files, and we use the one for step definition. So we're going to use another one for page object, and also for the utility folder. So that's it. So I will share the lecture video. If you did not register on the site, so you might not be in the WhatsApp group. So please do register, so that I can add you to the WhatsApp group, because I know some people are on the call but they did not register. So if you're not registered, you won't be able to get the link. So yeah, I will share that after this this training. Okay, I think that's everything. So we take it from there next week. Thank you, everyone.